problem with the national security law is that it's so vaguely written that any one of us, I'm sure, would be in breach of many categories of it. And the fact is also it has this extraterritorial application. So actually, I mean, I've been in breach of the national security law many times a day, every day since it was introduced, just by sitting in this chair in London and talking about Hong Kong.
You're British?
You didn't guess.
Well, so because it is extraterritorial, it just seems to me that, this has become a red line for the Chinese Communist Party. I don't think they're going to back down from this. But obviously the international community can't let this stand. So kind of like an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. Where is this going?
Well, I think it definitely marks the total end of Hong Kong's autonomy and basic freedoms and the rule of law. It's surely a turning point for the international community. The international community's response rhetorically has been quite strong. In terms of actions, the actions that the United States and the UK have taken are certainly very welcome, but I think there's a real need for others in the international community to step up and really for the whole free world to unite in outcry at what's happened to Hong Kong, not just because it's devastating for Hong Kong, but actually if the CCP is allowed to get away with what they've done, they won't stop there. We talked about Taiwan a few minutes ago. Taiwan will be next, and our own freedoms will be after that.
I mean, wouldn't you say that they have essentially gotten away with it, though?
So far, yes, I think that is true. And that's why we need a much more robust international response so that, yes, they may get away with it, but we need to ensure that they pay the highest possible price. So that means targeted sanctions and other forms of pressure so that they may get away with it, but not without cost.
Well, so you mentioned the sanctions the U.S. government has put on many officials in Hong Kong, which might actually have an impact on the Chinese Communist Party because we actually did an episode about it, how it cuts off potentially Chinese banks from the U.S. dollar. Do you think there's anything more that can be done? And in particular, what more can the UK do?
Well, so we have the US sanctions, which are very welcome, but I think it would be even stronger if many other parts of the free world also introduce sanctions. So I think the UK, which now has Magnitsky-style sanctions legislation, should be looking very seriously at imposing either Magnitsky sanctions on Carrie Lam and some of the senior police officers responsible for police brutality and officials in Beijing who are responsible for destroying the Sino-British Joint Declaration and breaking their promises to Hong Kong. Or if there's a possibility that the current Magnitsky legislation, the criteria may or may not be able to be applied to Hong Kong, and that's debatable. But if that's the case, the British government should either amend the legislation or introduce a separate sanctions regime. But either way, I think the UK should introduce targeted sanctions, and then I think other countries, European countries, Canada, Australia, and if the free world really unites and coordinates these kind of measures, then I think that could have an impact.
What do you think's stopping that?